Going live.
So I should look directly at the camera now?
Yeah, or me, because you think I'm so good looking.
No.
Okay. This is actually live now. We think because we're trying to figure out how to actually get YouTube. Well, YouTube's not the hard bit. So we had to figure out like how to use OBS because we were going to Twitch stream it because we thought all the kids are doing Twitch these days. And that would be cool. And then I realised the kids are much smarter than me and I didn't know how to use it. But then you say, but you didn't know how to use it either. So
I don't stream.
So well, you do now. Congratulations. Welcome to streaming. So this is kind of cool. So for anyone watching, this is Ari. He's 10 years old. He's not going to school at the moment. So you got to remember, if you look at the picture just there, you can see. You can come there. Good. Very good. You can get close to me. It's all right. I'm one of the few people you're actually allowed to get close to at the moment. So what we decided to do is like an hour roughly of code each day this week because you're obviously home from school. We're in my office, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 screens. It just feels like this is basically what a spaceship is like. All these screens. Stand up, turn around too, because you got your good coding t-shirt on today as well. There you go, NDC Dev Club. So do you want to tell people, just before we jump into this, like what was NDC Dev Club? What did we do when we were allowed? Get in the middle. What did we do when we were allowed to actually go outside and see people?
Oh, do you mean? Like...
Well, when we were in Norway and London earlier this year.
We had to stay. Like, we weren't allowed to be really close to anybody.
No. Okay, this is like post COVID-19. But when we were overseas earlier this year, you did the Dev Club.
Yeah.
So what did you do when we were in Norway and London?
I ran a code club with kids, and they just did code combat. But
you like taught them how to do it, and then
I helped them out.
So we did that, and then when we were in London last year in January, you did another talk about how you learned to code, and you did like code.org, and you did code combat, and then you did HTML. So we're basically going to do this, right? So some of this stuff is like super basic for Ari, but at least for other people, it's they're going to be sitting at home going, what am I going to do with my children the whole time? I'm suddenly like a teacher. So maybe this will be useful for other people. And this also gets recorded and is visible for people afterwards as well. So everything you say is now on the permanent record. So, all right, why don't you start by talking about what code.org is, and then we'll just start doing like some really basic stuff, and we might just stick with code.org today until we run out of patience or people start dropping off. Incidentally, you can leave comments on the video as well, so I've got my laptop here. I can respond to comments or do things. And also we figured out that there's like a 34-second delay
34-second delay
between us saying something and it appearing there. So if you ask a comment and it takes half a minute, there you go. All right, go. Code.org. What is it? What are we going to do with it?
So basically, code.org is a coding game for young kids.
And we like when you jump in there, so once we actually go and start doing some of the exercises, they sort of give different ages, don't they? So why don't we just start with something like super basic?
Okay.
Because how old was like the youngest that they said you could
be? Kindergarten to year 6.
Right. So you could be like 4 years old or something like that.
Yeah. Wow.
You really want to do Frozen, don't you?
Yeah, definitely.
No, but rather than going like straight into Minecraft, what was the one we saw just before where you started with like...
Oh, Flappy Bird?
No. That was the one where you just like drag the things and drop them. Because that's still like a learnable thing, right?
Yeah. I think Minecraft might do that as well.
Well, why don't you go back to the homepage? So click on that code icon there. I'm just plugging our stuff at the moment, letting people chime in and watch it. Where do we start? I think we started with students, didn't we? And we went to explore our courses. We go there. Okay. All right. So K through 5. So K is obviously kindergarten. Yeah. Let's just go into something there, and maybe we can sort of talk about like what is it that kids learn if you do, say, the youngest thing, like course A. Because I think this is really interesting that you can be someone who's like 4 years old and do something that's somehow code related. Well done. All right, so what did you actually do, though?
I clicked on an apple.
You clicked on Apple. But, okay, as we start to progress,
Yeah.
let's go through and start doing this.
I can feel my brain getting smarter by the second.
Nice. You're going to be a YouTube comedian. But this is relevant, too, because... if you think about what are the building blocks that people need to ultimately learn to write code, it's like you need to learn how to use a mouse. That's pretty much code today. So I'm looking at some of the comments as well. Racket says, "Lucky kid to have me." You're very lucky.
Yeah, no.
This other guy says, "Your daughter will be the heir to the HLBP throne." So maybe we'll get Al to do this another day. Maybe next week can be like the week of code for Al.
What about next year?
Well, I'll tell you what, mate. If we stay locked up long enough, we will still be doing this next year.
Nice.
All right. So, oh wow, this is getting sophisticated. You got to drag 3 blocks.
So hard.
So this also teaches. Have you heard this term like fine motor skills?
Yeah.
This is not like how well you drive a car, right? Fine motor skills is your ability to sort of move things around and organise them. You're failing at the puzzle.
I'm doing it.
How did you pass that? Because you didn't actually get that on top of the puppy dog.
I'm not. It's kindergarten work.
So tell you what, like this sort of gives you an idea, and incidentally, we've tried this on like iPad before, and it works too, right? Like you don't have to have a PC. What about if you let's kill this exercise because this is starting to get a bit repetitive.
Yeah.
Can we go back to? Well, what if you drop down more?
What do you mean?
See where it says more up there?
Oh.
So what if we jump into something a little bit further?
Sequencing? Sequencing?
Yeah, sequencing with Scrat. Let's give that a run. See what that's like. Okay.
Oh, so like east. Like E for east, which is right. And then...
For a moment there I was thinking, like, is Scrat some kind of programming language I haven't heard of? But do you remember what Scrat is?
No.
Scrat is the little, what is he? This animal.
From Ice Age. Yeah. Scrat. Oh, yeah.
So, but I mean, this is kind of cool too, because this isn't just like, hey kids, write code. It's here's some characters that you're familiar with.
And like it would just make it a bit more fun.
So just read out what we're doing here as well, because and maybe you can sort of explain this and why this is valuable for people.
So to get Scrat to the acorn, use the east block to the bottom of the when run block, and then press run. And press run.
So what do you think kids are actually learning here?
Some kids might be learning northeast, southwest.
Okay, yep, that'll be one thing. But from like a code context, like what's the relevancy of this to code?
It's very basic.
Well, it's procedural, right? Insofar as that there is a sequence of things that need to happen, and in this case, the sequence has got like one thing. But why don't we just run this and see how it goes?
I have mastered the sound effects.
So you've got that bit right. Okay, cool. Let's maybe just jump through a few levels. I think if we drop down, can we just like click up to one of those?
It's north, south, east, west.
Okay, so this time we don't actually have the instructions, but it's kind of clear what to do. So let's drag some blocks. You've got 37 concurrent viewers.
Pressure's on.
Alright, run that guy. Okay, let's drop down that little more icon again. So, alright, this is just very, very basic procedural, but actually, so here's, well, like we won't play the video because I'm not sure how that will work over YouTube, but have you seen what pair programming is?
No.
So this is kind of interesting, and I like the way they introduce this to kids.
Is it kind of like two kids working together?
Yeah, but what's cool about this is that this is not just a kid thing, right? Like there is a concept of pair programming, where imagine it was like Scott Helm and I, right?
Yeah.
And we were wanting to write code. We'd go, okay, let's actually sit there and do it together. So rather than both of us sitting there separately trying to figure out problems, when you do this together, and particularly when you explain problems to each other, your ability to solve problems and come up with good solutions is much better. So I like this because pair programming is a concept that we have in like adult programming, for want of a better term, and they introduce that to kids. So let's just continue so we can skip past that. Now, this is nothing new because it's just procedural again, right?
Yeah.
So what if we drop down more, because I saw other concepts. Let's go more up there. Loops. Let's do loops.
Cool.
Okay, so what are loops? You got to explain this to people.
Loop is just like if you put like if you get a while true loop and then put move forward, it'll keep moving forward forever.
So just keep
until you stop, until you say stop.
doing something over.
Yeah.
Okay, so and you've seen while true a lot in things like code combat, which we might do tomorrow, the next day or something. But you can have other conditions for a loop as well. So while true is just going like just do it forever.
Yeah.
But you might also say while something hasn't happened, keep doing this, and then at some time something's going to happen, and then you'll stop doing that, and then you'll go on and you do the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see how code.org introduces loops to kids. I'm going to read it out.
Free play. This is Laurel Adventurer. Move her around to get as much treasure as you can. Drag blocks into the workspace and try and figure out how to get the treasure. Get at least one item to pass this level.
So because we kind of skipped through the video, you've got to explain this yourself. So in a case like this, what's the value proposition of a loop? Like, why would you want to have a loop?
It saves time, and also in Code Combat there's a level where like you have to do like under 7 lines, and you have to use while true loops.
Okay, so Code Combat gave you like a bit of an objective. You have to try and make compact code. So this is sort of optimizing, right?
Yep.
No, no. Computer says no. Keep coding. You need to collect as many items as you can. So what are you missing here?
Miss the get.
I was doing this one with Elle last week, and she was.
Yay. I'm just gonna restart.
Computer says no. No. Why are you restarting? Oh no. Okay, so you didn't reset it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you were trying to get a gem on a square that didn't have a gem, because when you do this you move get gem. I tell you what, so here's and we didn't really talk about this, so this is probably relevant. You have like this designer workspace here where you get to create your code, which is really the bit where it says like blocks and workspace and everything, and then on the left this is where your code executes. Do you remember how to use step? Do you remember the point of step? Because step is a concept that we'd have, say, in Visual Studio when we were writing professional software as well. So can you remember what step does?
Oh.
Okay, so step runs your code one step at a time. So it will execute one thing, then stop. And then you step again, execute another thing, and stop. So this helps with debugging. So let's run step and see what happens. Okay. Right. You see the problem?
Yeah.
How are you going to fix it? Actually, explain the problem, because remember you're talking to other people now as well.
So basically the problem is, I move east 1 and then I try and collect a gem, but there's no gem.
Right.
So I can't collect anything.
So what should you do?
Go to hints.
No hints. You're doing like the most basic level here.
That's gonna work.
You just went past all the gems.
Did I?
What? No, but you only got 1 gem. Yeah. No, don't finish it. No, this is cheating. You got to get 3 gems.
It only says I have to get 1.
Okay, well, Dad says you got to get 3. Seriously. Okay, figure this out. Let's do this. Let's reset. Okay, let's go step. We're just going to go step once. Okay, so press it once. Okay, so we're into the loop. This is the first iteration of the loop. Okay, so an iteration is like the time it runs. Let's go step again. Okay, what should be happening now?
I should be getting gem.
So what we did is we moved east twice, and then you should be getting the gem.
Oh yeah.
So can you see the problem now?
Yeah.
Can you see? Okay, I think you're under this now. I'm going to look at the comments while you're doing that.
Why can't I get the gem? Get it!
Okay. If all else fails, restart. Just press the refresh button on the browser.
Oh, should I try that?
Oh, you could try that.
Oh, there you go.
Is that all right?
Yeah.
Not going to work. Wow, people are having real big trouble staying on topic in this discussion. Don't worry. Your code.
My good.
All right,
Yeah,
hang on, that's, whoa, what?
Yeah. Okay, I know what to do.
All right.
I know what to do now.
Oh, so we're going with this. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Not well. Okay, but why did it bump into the wall?
Because it repeated 6 times.
So how many times should you repeat?
1, 2, 3 times. Just log.
Scott's watching this.
Scott?
Scott. We have a sticker about who he is, but we're not going to show it at the moment because it's for kids. All right, so did that work that time?
No.
All right, can I have a go? Because we don't want to spend too much time on this
This is
either.
way out of my league.
It's not, because this is like the simple one. But you just got to
Exactly. That's why it's out of my league.
you got to think about it in a different way, right? So what do we want to do? We want to move east 2 times, collect a gem. Move east 2 times, collect a gem. Move east 2 times, collect a gem. So that's our pattern. Move east 2 times, collect a gem. So what if we did this? If we did that, we don't need that, we don't need that, we do that 3 times.
Okay.
Run it. Run it. Yeah. So, but
Yeah.
I mean, like you solved this, and you could have always solved it just by literally having the same bit of code 3 times over. So this is what I like about this, because this is not just about meeting the objective, solving the problem. This is about trying to do it optimally as well.
Okay.
Scott's annoying. All right, let's go on to something different.
Something I didn't know.
we've done loops. Let's drop down more. That arrow up there. Program scratch, loops with Laurel, events. Can you remember what events are?
Events?
Yeah.
Wait, what does it say that?
Just down here.
Oh. Events are like movements?
Events are things that happen. So when we do any sort of event-driven programming, it's going to be something happens. What then should happen as a result of that? So let's just go continue. Okay, continue through that. Which is good. All right, so just explain what's cool. Wow, there's a play lab. Move blocks and see what happens. All right, play with that for a moment.
This is weird.
This is a play lab, move blocks and workspace, so it happens. Oh, I just run it, so it happens. Set background. This is weird.
I have no idea.
What are you actually trying to achieve here?
World domination. Let's
just move on to something else.
good idea.
Events. No, let's go down to events because like events are a really relevant programming construct. Just go through to like number 3 or number 4 or something like that. No, because I think that just goes back to the description.
Now dogs are floating and vanishing.
Well, how can you help him? Say
Dogs
hi.
all
When
say
run,
hi there. When can you help?
say hi there. Well, I guess you just drop like the dog saying hi, and
Hi.
maybe the video would have explained what this is doing.
I did it.
Do you feel satisfied now? All right,
Very
let's
satisfied.
just jump further, like jump into number 7 or something like that. Free play. Add anything.
What?
All right, let's just drop down more. One of the things I find a little bit difficult sometimes is that I'm trying to like put my adult brain, programming mind, fit this into that, and maybe some of this is just like, hey, let's just play and see what happens. Let's just go to number 5 here, and then we'll go on to something else. Now at another event block to get Jorge to move right when the right arrow button is clear. Okay, so this is more sort of event driven, right? So it's saying when you click the right arrow, so the event would be like right arrow click, move the dog right, which sounds
That sounds pretty
basic, right?
Basic.
Yeah, but this is like literally what event driven
Yeah.
programming is. It's just often you'd have much more complex events. So all right, make Jorge do the thing.
Okay.
Oh, look, Lars is there too. Lars says, is this how I wrote Have I Been Pwned?
Yep.
Just dragging and dropping Jorge the dog. When data breach, load into Have I Been Pwned.
Load Jorge.
All right, make Jorge work.
It's George. It's George. I don't know what it is. I'm pretty sure it's not Jorge.
Jorge?
George. His legs don't move.
When run. But shouldn't all of this be under when run? Is that is that working? Are you moving it around?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. All right. But like, I know this feels super basic, but this is event-driven programming, right? So when you press the up arrow, he goes up. When you press the right arrow, he goes right, so on and so forth. So just before we go on to something different, what are they actually teaching you at school at the moment in code? So you're in year 5.
Nothing. Like
Nothing.
We haven't done anything about code.
Just keep in mind your teacher might watch this as well.
Uh-oh.
Hi. We love you. No, but seriously, like, because she told me the other day that you do have some lessons and you were helping the other kids.
Yeah, I did it once with Code Combat, but that was once.
Yeah.
And we haven't done it again.
Okay, but I think...
The closest thing is like we're doing a website, but the website's really boring. It's like for each subject.
So when you do the website, are you doing it with like HTML tags or drag and drop?
No, it's like literally when she says update your website, she means like just fiddle with it, like drop in pictures, doodle.
So this week, assuming we keep doing this each day, which will be much easier now because we figured out what we're doing with OBS, we should get through to your website because when you did your talk in London last year, in January last year, you were doing the website. So we should actually pick that up and finish it and actually get it published to the web as well. Okay, why don't we just go back right to the homepage of code because this is sort of like the real basic K, what do they say? K 4-year-old to 7-year-old kind of stuff.
K to 5, kindergarten to year 5.
Let's scroll down. What are one of the other things you like doing here? Because I know you like the Minecraft stuff too. Like you did a lot of the Minecraft stuff over the years.
It's the funnest thing here. Hour of code.
Okay.
We had to do that in year 4, and it was very,
Code your own dance party. Okay.
very demented.
All right. What about Minecraft?
Minecraft is a lot more fun. Huh.
Education edition. Oh, no, this is we've got to
no.
download.
Yeah.
So, I mean, one of the really, really nice things about, and look, maybe we can do this offline later on, but I don't think people want to watch us here trying to download and install software.
Yeah.
One of the really neat things about code.org, and then when we do Code Combat as well, is that it is all just in the browser. So you can just sit down and run it. You don't have to install anything. No, this is what I wanted to ask you. This is a serious question, actually.
Yeah.
Do you remember we were having the discussion about... You got to remember when you lean back there, you go off the camera. We were having the discussion about this year, the kids in your class all need to bring a laptop, and we're saying like, should the kids have admin rights or not have admin rights? Do kids in your class like have rights to install whatever they want on their machines?
Like if they install like games, they're just not allowed to play. Like you're not allowed to play games at all at school.
Right. What about the dinosaur one in Chrome?
I don't know.
It's still a game, but you know.
Yeah, well, I've seen like there's this something on Chrome where you can download like Chrome extensions. Like there's something called like a piggy bank game. You click, keep pressing a piggy and it gives you money.
So we were talking about Chrome extensions as well, and you were actually you tell the children out there.
So,
what's the problem with Chrome extensions?
Like Chrome extensions, like you can see your latest, like what you've been searching up.
Right. So like your browsing history.
Yeah, and like lots of kids at school have like 50 extensions.
Right. And they don't realise like what can go on.
Yeah, like they've got games. I've seen some kids who have Pac-Man.
Right. As a Chrome. Why do you have Pac-Man as a Chrome extension? I don't know. That's just Anyway,
Yeah. Like
bizarre.
it's just like with one click of a button you can play Pac-Man.
And of course, with one click of a button, like you could be giving someone else access not just to browsing history, but everything that you enter into the browser and everything that the browser shows back to you. Let's go back to Minecraft because maybe this was back on Learn, so we might just go back to students, grades 6 through 12. Let's make it more interesting. Do you want to do that one?
Sure.
So you're grade 5.
Yeah.
JavaScript, HTML, CSS, which is cool.
Game lab, web lab.
Courses from third parties. Okay, so here's Code Combat, which is cool. So actually, let's do that tomorrow because we're going to start going on to like a whole different realm of things. We'll go back and we'll just stick to code.org, stuff we can do in the browser.
What happened to Flappy Bird?
Well, what about we do some Angry Bird?
Oh no, it's not actual just Angry Bird. It's going to be different.
Yeah, but it'll be like make the bird do
Fly?
something.
Make the bird
Just drill into
explode.
it. Program with Angry Bird.
Okay.
Intro, going to skip. Well,
The intro is just a video.
that's just the video. Okay,
Yeah.
so skip that. Okay, so why don't you explain? Well, this is really just what we did before with North, South, East, West, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's just,
except it's easier.
okay, so let's just like skip through towards the end of that or something.
11.
Oh no, actually, I like that one. Go back. Just click the back. Yeah. So explain this because I think this actually teaches something else valuable.
So read through code. Be very careful what will happen when you click run. Oh, okay. So the bird will end up. So A, B, C, or D. The bird will end up in one step short of the pig. The bird will make it to the pig. The bird will run into the TNT. I don't know.
All right, so read through the code because this is valuable because the lesson here is can you read and understand code?
Yeah. I think we've got to do a level just to know, like, if turn left doesn't mean face left or move left.
That's just rotate. So you don't actually move, you just rotate.
Turn left, move forward. Turn left, move forward. Forward, move forward.
So what's the answer going to be?
Like, so... Oh, it's already facing... Turn left, it's facing that way. Move forward, turn left. Move forward, move forward. Oh, we'll get to the big.
nice. Okay, cool.
I would have rather the bug exploded.
That's a different thing. Maybe we can do that on another level. Just like running into the dynamite. Okay, let's continue because there's another button there as well, which I thought was interesting.
Which one?
The show code button.
Show code.
Yep.
What is that?
And see the little symbol next to it? It's just like little angle brackets like you'd have in HTML. Now, we have no code there because you've got nothing there at the moment. So let's just say okay to that. Let's actually do this exercise, then we'll have a look at show code.
So, like, just finish? Okay.
Well, no, let's actually do the exercise, and then we'll look at the code.
Repeat question mark many times.
Well, what's the exercise, first of all?
You have to try and get to the pig in any way possible.
Okay. You do that. I'll look at the comments.
Okay. So,
I forgot, but I made Scott a moderator like years ago, so he can just mute people that are being stupid.
I want to see people who be stupid.
I'll show you later. You can have a look at them all. I'm just trying to get you to focus on the code at the moment. This is the internet. I'm not going to hide the horrors. Well, not all of the horrors. It's not bad.
I like that
"Where's your
one."
daughter?" Holy crap! Where's Elle?
Yay!
Oh, she's fine.
I like that one. I'm Simsy.
Ari has a good head on his shoulders. Yeah, you do, mate. You do. You're doing well. All right, let's do this exercise. And remember, just before you run it, let's have a look at the code as well.
Mm-hmm.
Scott says he has the power after we said he's a moderator. We got to remember that tonight, Scott, and you keep working. I'm talking to Scott.
Thank you.
So we should plug that actually. So whilst Ari's writing his code, Scott and I are going to do a session which will be less child orientated later on. In fact, we'll talk about it in a moment. All right. So what do you see from this code?
I see move forward, count three times move forwards on the first one.
Well, actually, have you read this syntax before? That first line, for, var, count.
I think so.
Because remember, and we'll get to this later on, but when we do code combat, then we get into things like learning about variables and things like that. So in this case, it's saying let's declare a variable called count. It's going to have a value of 0 while the count is less than 3. Do this, and then on each iteration, increment count.
2 times.
So it's basically just going to go, like we could go down here and print out the value of count. Or say, what is the value of count? And each time it runs, it would be increasing 1. And while it's less than 3, it's going to continue running this. We could have also said count equals 1, count is less than or equal to 3, which would be a little bit verbose. But anyway. So this is kind of cool because I like the fact that, if you actually wanted to program Angry Birds, that's what you'd write.
Yeah.
But you get to do the, drag and drop and run. Did you actually, you haven't run that yet because we just went straight to code. Let's see if it works. Right, that's going to go there.
Should have made the bird get into, fall into the TNT.
Didn't make it. Right, so while you're doing that, so giving the Scott and I thing a plug. What's the time now? We're 8:11. So we are in 10.5 hours. Scott and I are going to do our Cyberbroken talk. You have seen us do our Cyberbroken talk live.
Yeah.
We used to hand out stickers
3 times.
when we were live. Actually, you have seen. Yeah. No, you did because you saw it last year and you saw it twice this year. So Scott and I are going to do that in 10.5 hours, which
10.5 hours.
Yeah, 10.5. So 7 o'clock tonight. Maybe you can watch the stream.
Not really.
Thanks, man.
No,
Thanks for your
I
support.
can't comment, so it's not really that fun.
So I don't know if you remember, but I tried to create your YouTube account. This is like the weird cycle for parents trying to get kids online. I don't. Oh boy, I'm going to get in trouble if I don't say this right. You get in trouble a lot on the internet. It's one of the things you're going to learn.
I'm not surprised.
I don't like the idea of like every child when they're 13. It's like that's the perfect age to have an online account. And if you're like 12 and a half, it's terrible, it's no good. Or if you're 13 and a half, it's definitely okay. So I like the idea of us being able to make decisions of like when is it the right time for you to do different things. So I don't know if you remember, but a few years ago you were like, hey, I would like to be able to put YouTube videos in like favorites so that I could come back and watch the same YouTube videos again.
I think I remember that.
Right. And it's like, okay, cool. Like this is something, you know how I keep saying it's like a teachable moment. It's like a time, moving the camera again, it's a time where you can learn like a basic fundamental skill. So all I'll do is I'll just create you a YouTube account. And if I create you a YouTube account, which is of course is a Google account, because Google owns YouTube, then you can like stuff and you'll learn about it. And then you go to create it and it's like, no, you've got to be 13. It's like, well, I don't want you to be 13. I just want you to be able to like a video. So I had to lie about your age, and then you kept seeing advertisements for It, the movie It. And you're like, Dad, why do I keep seeing scary clowns when I'm trying to watch... It wasn't Bob the Builder, but let's just say it was Bob the Builder, because that would be like the most childlike thing.
That's even more scary.
And so here's another thing that you got to be a bit careful about. So a friend of mine, his daughter, he created a Twitter account for her before I think it was before she was 13, and
So a bit older than me.
So a few years older than you. Well, probably only a couple of years older than you.
Well,
But-
it's not horrible, but it's not necessarily good either, because some people don't really.
Well, some people wouldn't be ready for it or wouldn't be responsible.
Yeah.
But she, and you've met her. I'll tell you who it is later on because I don't want to throw her out in the public forum by talking about it here. But she is really super smart. She definitely was ready to have a Twitter account at, let's say, 12 years old. And she used it as she was writing a blog. And she just created this amazing, super cool online profile. Anyway, she got to 18 recently.
Yeah.
And then she put her age into Twitter, and Twitter immediately locked her out, deleted all her tweets, and said, even though you're an adult now, you created this account when you were too young. We're just erasing like more than 5 years worth of history, all gone. So we've just got to be careful, and for kids out there as well, be very careful if you create an online, even if you as a parent think that they're ready for it and they should have the account. Maybe you need like a burner account, something you're just willing to discard later on, and then when they get to 13 or whatever the age limit is, then you create the one that they actually want to have into adulthood or whatever it may be. All right, let's do something else. Okay, debugging. All right, so because we're not going to play the video, what's debugging?
Debugging is where.
Why don't you want to be close to me?
What?
Why don't you want to be close to me?
Corona.
No, I don't think we can even joke about that now because it's just gotten too weird. Debugging. Okay.
So debugging is basically where you just like if something, if you're in code and you mess something up, then you fix it.
So, yeah, and it might not be you've messed it up. It's like you might be reading someone else's code. So let's say that the code is not behaving in quite the way it should. Then you have to debug it. Now, maybe that's bad code that you wrote. Maybe it's bad code that someone else wrote. Because when you sort of start writing code, not necessarily professionally, but you might be working on code with other people as well. Maybe someone else writes a bug. So you need to be able to read the code and figure out where the bug is and fix it. Well, let's do the first exercise.
This code isn't quite right. Fix the code to help Scrat get the acorn. I did it.
So I wasn't paying attention because I was reading the comments.
I'm
Let's just do the
good.
next one, and then I just want to see like what is the bug in the first place. Well, actually, let's put it back there and just run it.
Oh, whoops.
Oh, well, just reload the page. Or no, there's a start over button. Forgot. Okay, so let's run it because the premise here is.
He's gonna get in the water. Right
Okay,
there.
well, let's do it.
If I.
All right. So the bug is you've just drowned an animal. Good one, Ari.
Yeah.
No, we don't. Yeah. Oh, jeez. Someone somewhere will be watching this, and they'll send me an angry letter saying, "How dare you let your kids celebrate like a scrat?" What kind YouTube? What kind of animal is scrat?
Ancient squirrel.
If only we had a way of googling this stuff and figuring it out.
If only there was a Google.
Okay, you debug this. I'm going to figure out what kind of animal scrat is.
Okay. I think he's a squirrel.
I think is it? No, I don't think it's a squirrel because it's got a funny nose. Is scrat. And because of the 34-second delay, we'll be able to answer.
Aha!
Oh, no, it's a toothed squirrel.
Close enough.
All right. You had the superclass right. It is a squirrel.
He'd fall in the water.
All right. So basically, the real premise of this is that you should be able to read the code and see what the mistake is and then fix the mistake, right?
Yeah.
So, hey, someone's just asking here, does he know any HTML yet? I think I started out at around the same age, at 10, learning HTML, CSS on Code Academy, which I remember finding fun, experimenting with the CSS to see what I could do. Now, actually, I think we did a little bit of CSS, it was a long time ago, so you might not remember what that is. But HTML, so we did start him on HTML. I reckon it was about 18 months ago, because remember you got chosen to go... So your class, a whole bunch of kids who are good at different things got chosen to go to different schools and do different
it was
things.
called Brainwise.
Okay, and you went to that school.
Coding, yeah. I got to finish school early.
Yeah, okay, so you were happy with that.
Happy days.
I just remember that you came back and you had like...
A paper of like head tags, body tags.
Yeah, and I thought that was really cool because when I saw you going to do a course on coding, I was like, it's going to... And the coding was, learn how to build a web page.
Yeah.
I thought, it's going to be really super basic and it's just going to be, you're just going to be like drag and drop things. Basically what it sounds like you're doing at school at the moment.
No.
But it wasn't because...
It was like HTML and...
Yeah.
It was basically all about tags.
But it was... And you actually had to handwrite them. So you came back with like penciled in handwritten... I don't think I've ever handwritten like entire web pages.
Okay, man.
I don't know if you saw this. I think I spoke about something. Where is it? So this is like still on my shelf. HTML for Dummies. So this is literally the book that I learned to build web pages with. And the reason why I had to use a crusty old book like that is because it was about 1995.
Oh, heads. HTML heads.
But see, that all looks familiar. The only weird thing about this, now that I look at it, is all the tags are in uppercase. And it still works, whether it's uppercase or lowercase, but it just looks super, super weird now if you go to HTML and you see it in uppercase.
Kind of.
Doesn't it? Like, it's just strange.
There's JavaScript, VRML, Shockwave.
Shockwave. All right, well...
I have no idea what that is.
Well, most people don't these days. There's a good reason for that. All right, let's go on. We'll do a little bit more because we've been going, 43 minutes yet. We'll try and maybe round this out to about an hour. If we drop down more, what else can we see in here now that we've done some debugging?
Logging the maze, collecting treasure with Laurel, creating art.
But this is all in debugging, isn't it?
Sequence.
Oh, it's in what?
Debugging.
Oh, debugging in maze.
Yeah.
What's creating art? Or you just want to go straight to the end?
Yeah.
To build your program, get the bird to the pig.
Okay.
But this is same old
easy.
stuff. I feel like it does get repetitive, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And it almost feels like you regress because we've already done loops, which is probably what you do here if you've got to move that many times. So Scott's actually good. No, really. Scott is saying, let's keep the comments on topic, please. So he's talented. And we never actually thought about this. And we never asked Scott to come and do this, but let's face it, Scott doesn't have a lot to do at the moment, does he? Like, what's he going to do? Go outside? He's
British.
Well, he's British, so he probably doesn't want to go outside. There goes half our audience. No, but yeah, I guess he's stuck inside too. Thanks, mate. I appreciate that. And also, maybe I actually should think about having a moderator for the next few ones.
What's that? Or like just commenting moderator? Or?
Yeah, like just someone who can go through and... Because it's a little bit hard for me to do this and moderate at the same time. Yeah. What's creating art?
Are these going to be like degrees?
Oh, no, that's kind of cool.
Oh, use pixels. I only just learnt degrees.
Draw and anything.
I'm still working on it.
You just learn degrees?
Yeah, I'm still working on it.
Okay, cool. So let's keep doing this so we can keep learning degrees. So, how many degrees in a circle? If you were to go all the way around.
360.
Okay, cool. So, if it says turn right by 90 degrees,
Then
if
it's
360 is a full circle, how far is 90?
quarter.
Right, cool. So, let's actually try and do this exercise. Well, I have a look at how the fun it's going.
I am an artist. You can write code. You can write code to make me do almost anything. Play with the blocks in the toolbox and see what they can do. Set color black.
Ooh, look, I'm going to moderate some as well, just for fun. Dun, dun, dun.
Uh oh.
No, you do your work.
Oh, okay. Set color black. Or forward. Billion pixels.
Oh, that's a lot of pixels. But if you do that, you're going to go flying off the screen.
Nice.
Alright. Yoink.
Hey.
Alright, so why don't we try and draw something a little bit different. So 9's going to be really small.
900.
So remember we were talking about resolutions before, and we said that this screen is 1920 pixels wide.
1920, yeah.
So let's make it just like 100 pixels. 500 is probably still going to go off the screen. That's 1,000. Alright, sweet. So
I
it
need to
works.
a square. Oh.
Incidentally, these videos are also evidence of Ari actually working while he's
Yeah.
while all the kids should have been at school, but
Take that,
yeah.
principal.
Okay. Are you doing that? Oh, look at that. That's pretty cool. That's a good way to learn degrees, isn't it? Because it actually shows
I saw it's
as
cool.
it moves. So what fraction of a circle is 45 degrees? What fraction of a circle is 45 degrees?
Let me check.
In your head.
Look, yeah. An eighth?
Yeah, well done. Nice. I actually didn't think you'd have the answer to that
Yeah,
quickly.
me neither.
You did well.
You were also learning obtuse and acute, and obtuse
Okay.
is this.
Yep, and acute's the other way
is-
around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's a straight line.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, that's cool. All right. Tell you what, why don't we try and do maybe one more thing? So,
Right, this is a right angle.
yeah, so right angle's obviously going to be 90
And
degrees.
then right below it is a left angle.
Let's, what's in more? Is there anything else in this series of lessons? Loops, we kind of know loops. Let's just go down and see what else.
My Loopy Robotic Friend Junior.
Yeah, that's just an unplugged activity. Keep going down. We've got an events here.
Oh, halves and crops with loops. I
I'll tell you what,
remember
let's
doing that.
let's do that, and then I just want to do something down in the data section, and then that might round us out for the session.
I remember trying this out for, I think it was either last year or, yeah, it was either last year or this year, but we were looking at what to do, like what to show people. And I think we were looking at this, and we didn't want to do it.
Well, let's just do one exercise on this because you're in here now. But this is sort of the same concept again, isn't it? Now remember, you're meant to be using loops as well.
That sound can get really annoying.
Yeah, the game sound. Not sick. It's been talking too much. Oh, we should have turned the air conditioning on before we did this, shouldn't we?
3, 4, 5. says 1, then it went back to 3. Oh, it said 4. I thought it said 1. I wonder what happens if I do this.
Oh, what are you meant to do? How many pumpkins are there?
4. I was just seeing what would happen if I did 3.
But that's kind of cool as well, right? Where you can just experiment and go, what would happen
Yeah.
if I did? I mean, like imagine...
The ladies looks pretty demented though.
One of the super cool things about like code and software is you can experiment a lot. Like imagine if you're a builder, right? Like building houses, and you're like, oh, I wonder what would happen if I did. It's like, well, the house fell down, or it just cost a heap of money because your experiment was really
It
expensive.
fell on someone's legs and killed them.
Right, like bad stuff can happen. But at least with code, you can go, hey, why don't I give this a try and just see what happens? So you can sort of, you can experiment, you can fail, you can learn. It's pretty cool. Let's go down to that data section.
Data.
So if drop down more, remember one of the exercises down there was around data. So I think we might, so while, just before we do this, oh, that was unplugged activity, end of course project. Let's go to the end of course project. So while that's loading, I think we're going to sort of wrap up after this. So if anyone has questions that they want to ask, chuck them in the comments now. And in 34 seconds from now, they'll hear this, and then we can have a look and see what the questions are. All right. Yeah, let's just go into the project.
Depending on how much you've learned, let's make a game step by step using new blocks for your toolbox. Choose a new background and pick an actor to be in your game. Oh no, it's a doggo! It's a doggo again.
That's okay.
I did it.
Use new blocks to create a new background, then pick an actor to be in your game. Okay.
Set actor.
Well, hang on. What's the first thing it asks you to do?
Choose new background. Set winter background. Pick an actor. Which an octopus, a penguin. Definitely penguin. Zoe would love this. She loves penguins.
Ari's cousin loves penguins.
She's got like 200 penguin things.
You should get her to work.
There's a penguin.
What have you done right? Choose a new background, then pick an actor to be in your game.
I did that.
What does it mean by pick an actor to be in your game?
I picked an actor. A penguin. Oh, he's in the sky now.
Okay, all right. Go on to number 2.
He said penguins can't fly.
So someone just asked, they said, will your son ever learn PHP? Which is PHP, I think would be fair to say, is the most popular programming language for programming on the server at the moment. So I was going to say the most popular programming language. It's probably still JavaScript. But PHP is massively, massively popular. It's really easy to get started with. So yeah, he might do some PHP. I think learning things like HTML and JavaScript are really, really good fundamentals because they're so pervasive across every server-side platform. Plus, if he's doing JavaScript, then maybe that will lead him to do Node and things like that, and then maybe he won't worry as much about PHP. But yeah, absolutely, very possibly some PHP. We started mucking around with networks yesterday as well. So I just got into this really crazy loop of I got a Sonos Move, one of the Sonoses that you can carry around the house.
Penguin.
You actually don't? Oh no, you made that one work? All right, just keep doing exercises while I answer the question. So started, got the Sonos Move, and I thought, I'll put it on the IoT network. So we're having this discussion about how I have an IoT VLAN. So remember we were talking about what happens if a hacker gets into the washing machine?
You're screwed.
Well, we're not screwed. This is the point, because if we put that on the IoT virtual network, then they won't be able to get into the other network that's got like all the computers and things on it.
Yeah.
But then the problem is that the Sonos needs to be, I'll be careful what I say, because as soon as you say anything on the internet, people tell you you're wrong if you don't get it just right.
Yeah.
When the Sonos was not on the same network as the mobile device controlling it, things didn't work. And apparently it uses like multicast in order to actually communicate across networks. So either they've got to be on the same network, or you've got to start going through creating a whole bunch of firewall rules to open up UDP on certain ports, and you'd only want to do that. It just got super, super, super messy. And then it turned out that the only way I could get like the Play 5 to change networks is you've actually physically got to plug a LAN cable. It sounds hard even when I'm explaining it, doesn't it? It's like,
I fell asleep.
Well, I thought it was going to be like such a simple networking lesson, because I'm like, here's a port on a wall and it's got a number on it, and then we'll go into the garage and we go into the cupboard in there.
And then we find the number, then we plug it in, then we're done.
Exactly, and we plugged it into the switch, and it was like, cool, and now we'll just go back and we'll just connect it to another network, and then that was painful.
Set
Good idea,
every penguin to chase actor 1.
Oh wow, so someone just said, what are your thoughts on the arrest of Vinnie Troyer? I did not know that he had been arrested, so...
Who?
So a guy who's found a lot of data breaches, he sent a bunch of data breaches to me too. Well, that's actually really fascinating.
Data breaches?
Yeah, you know what data breaches are. You know that thing I do.
No,
Not the
I
breaches.
don't know that thing you do.
I didn't know that. So Mayhem, if this is the Mayhem, I think it is from Twitter. Send me a link to that story. I did not know about that, and I'm now fascinated about it. So yeah, send me a link. Someone in here, PHP makes me sad. I use it, but it makes me sad. It's definitely still prevalent and popular though. PHP is just massively, massively, massively prevalent. So yeah, I'm sorry it makes you sad. Maybe choose something that makes you happy.
What is it?
PHP is a programming language.
And HTML?
Well, people argue that HTML is not a programming language, it's a markup language. That's literally what the ML in HTML stands for.
What, my penguin's spazzing out.
Okay, should we do one more? Because we're at 57 minutes, and I thought we'd try and keep this to about an hour. Didn't you have breakfast?
Yeah, I'm hungry.
Coding makes me hungry. Okay, one more exercise. One more exercise.
My penguin's spazzing out, and it's not me.
Wow. But is that in a loop or something? Oh no.
No loops.
Maybe code.org
No, I'm
actually has a bug. Alright, do one more exercise, mate, and then we'll be out of time.
Okay. Ah.
so someone here says, let's open up Habbage and crack some databases. I don't know if you remember it.
Habbage?
This was when we were still.
I remember Habbage.
You remember Habbage because
Yeah.
when we were still living in Sydney, so this was ages and ages ago, and you were really little, we did.
I remember when I was going to do the talk.
Yeah.
I remember doing it over and over again.
Yeah. You were practicing it over and over again because, well, actually, the chronology is I got you to do. An exercise, I think when you were about 3 or 4 years old, in Sydney using Habbage, which is automated SQL injection software, against a website that I built for this purpose, just to show how easy it was.
Yeah.
And then you've done demos on your own, haven't you, at NDC events in Australia about how to do SQL injection. And the point of it being that you can be like a kid and use this software and break into things, which is kind of insane.
I can break into things?
No. This is not permission to break into things. Don't take me too literally.
You say the word.
No, let's rephrase that. You have sufficient technical competency as like an 8. You're good enough as an 8 or a 9-year-old to be able to use software to actually break into websites and do something very illegal, which you would never actually do unless it's to one of my
something
websites.
very illegal or legal?
Illegal stuff. Okay, we're going to have a father-son talk when we wrap this up. Look, that is ticking us almost bang onto 1 hour. So why don't we wrap this up, and we might do it again tomorrow. Just with we'll progress onto something else. Maybe we'll do like code combat tomorrow or something like that. Pretty cool. Okay, cool. Thanks for watching. I'm going to put this in a blog post. The videos will be saved, and then we'll just start to add all the other videos to that one blog post, so that you have got a record of you coding, and then other people can see it. And I think we actually made the technology work because no one said they're having problems with it, which is pretty amazing. Cool. Thanks for watching. And tune in for Scott and I in 10 hours from now. See ya.